the journey, once you become a Christian, is like, because it has that thing attached to it of being born again, a rebirth, is that you are a baby then again from that point on. So we're definitely at that stage. That's quite a funny way to think about it. And I remember saying a couple of years ago to you and to Neil, who baptised me in the sea at Hythe, that I felt like, at that point, I felt like I was at the starting lines of an egg and spoon race. And I feel...
How old would you have been in that egg and spoon race?
What do you mean?
How old are you in this race?
What, in this pretend thing?
Yes.
Baby. But what I mean is that I still haven't, I'm starting to get momentums, like the gun's gone off and I'm still, I've started running maybe, but I still don't know what I'm doing. And when I was at junior school, I remember being really excited about football, weirdly, because I can't stand football, but I would just run, and then I'd run back to the other end of the pitch. And I remember Mr. Davis, a Welsh teacher, and he would say, "Charlie, you're really good at running, now you need to go for the ball." And I feel like that's where I'm at the moment.
So
it's like, I'm excited about this journey, but I have no idea what I'm doing. And we're really lucky to have Lindsay and Jeanette, who are brilliant.
Who are our figures, aren't they, at St Mildred's in Tenterden.
And they're very patient and gentle and lovely people. But it's not like we outwardly go to them and ask what to do now. We were both confirmed on my birthday last year at Canterbury Cathedral.
By Bishop Rose.
By Bishop Rose, and that was an amazing day. And after that, it's, in fact, after every service, isn't it? They usually end it with, go out now and be the peace and spread that to other people and share it. But after being confirmed, it's not like there was like, right, you need to do this, this and this is where you're going with it, and this is what to do. Obviously, there is that guidebook, the New Testament, or whatever you want to read. We are reading on WhatsApp. What are you reading?
But there are 3 books, aren't there, that I'm reading. So we read a little bit of the Bible to each other, and I think we kind of dip in and out of various. It's, for me anyway, it's kind of open it up and read from there.
I think I'm reading through Matthew.
Are you?
And I can't remember which one you're reading from because it just varies.
It varies. And then there's The Purpose-Driven Life by, I think it's Rick Warren, which is really good.
That's brilliant. Really
good. And then the book that I was given by Jeanette and Lindsay, what's it called? Can't remember. The Life of a Priest.
That's very good.
Can't remember his name now, but that's interesting. Really interesting.
So we don't have, I don't know how you feel about the whole affair after getting confirmed, or being baptised and then confirmed, and then going, well, what does that mean? What do I need to do now? Because there is a lot to do, is what I'm discovering, is that it's not just you have these occasions and then that's it. I now have accepted this and I don't need to do anything. It's actually, you need to do an awful lot, and
sorry, can I interrupt there? What was coming through was there's a greater responsibility to do things because you have once you have the knowledge, you can't pretend that you haven't seen.
I feel like I still don't really know what I'm doing, but I know that there is stuff to do. I feel like I want to do more than I am doing and contribute more than I'm doing, but then I'm also having to balance home life, being a parent, being a husband, being back in education, work, and then going, well, how does it fit all this stuff that I've got to do? How does that fit into all this? But it could be also the other way around. How does my life fit in with this new journey? And for me, that one of the reasons that I'm on this journey is because it wasn't brilliant before. Trying to do life on my own, not completely on my own, but without faith or without Christ in my life, was not going brilliantly. And someone said to me recently, what made you commit to this journey? And it was actually, I think, if I'm completely honest, it wasn't just that things were rubbish. In fact, that's not really a reason, because I think we're quite good at suffering bad circumstances and not doing anything about it. And that it was actually, it's my daughter, Willow. Hello.
How old's Willie?
6.
6, yeah.
And it was actually when Dad had passed away, and I wanted to connect to him and remember him. And what actually happened was I connected with Jesus instead. And so found it by accidentally on purpose, I suppose.
Just listening to you, for me, it is so clear that there's no, for you, so it's always easier to see in others, isn't it, rather than oneself. So I know how you're feeling, because I feel this as well, that for me, there's like a perpetual drive that I'm not doing enough in service or whatever. And I would say that's maybe something that's not how can I put it? I would say it's something that needs to be reflected upon, prayed upon, because from what you were sharing about all the things that you've got going on in your life, so you've got your family, your beautiful family, your amazing wife, the fact that you're studying to train to be a doctor now, and all these different things that are happening, that's your service. And maybe it's more about, and I'm talking to myself here as well, is that it's allowing within that bringing in every single moment, every breath, that God into that love of God through your family, through the work that you're doing, through but allowing also, maybe I think is really important for us, is to allow extra space for quiet prayer and contemplation, even if that's just 5 minutes, because we've both talked about how much we enjoy going to church and we love it, and it's just like, oh, this is really lovely, because we're surrounded by people who understand, or and are all there to honour and worship God and Christ, and to give our lives to that. And there's a deep sense of peace within that. And then it's like, then we're thrown back out into the world, and it's like this tumultuous concept, especially when you're the head of a young family that you're supporting at the moment. It's a huge amount. But as I said earlier, when we were driving, the lady that I follow, who I really enjoy following, who's a Christian, and she says, well, maybe it's about doing less in order to connect more.
Yep. Brilliant.
To be more fully present with the things, because as we know, family is pivotal, and your three beautiful children are growing up in a Christian family that demonstrates love, demonstrates respect. You listen to them. You're apologetic for things, and in the same way with my son as well. And when, as you said, sort of touched on earlier, when if you grow up without that, it's a very different space to be in terms of how you're then able to go out and serve. So the service is everything, isn't it? Is in absolutely everything we do.
So, like, the first thing I was saying was, how do I get this new journey to fit in with my life? And I like what you're saying is that they're not separate.
No.
And that just needs to be breathed into every part of your life, which I feel is maybe at first it's this massive explosion of joy, acceptance, realization that this is great.
Yes.
And that there is hope.
Yes.
And there is love. But then it's also a very incremental thing that of building new habits within the framework of my family, or with the framework of my work life and work ethic, or and also my dreams, hopes, aspirations of where I want to go. They have massively changed course, because things that I thought were important are now suddenly not important at all. And so when I remember when Neil baptised us, because
I had a second baptism, didn't I?
And he was saying that he was praying for us that about the work to be done upon us by the Holy Spirit, which is quite. And also, I remember him listening, saying it. Sorry, I remember listening to him say it and being like, "What on earth are you talking about?" And then, over the course of months, 6 months, years, that we've had these conversations, usually on the phone in the car or by WhatsApp, are suddenly going, wow, this thing has happened, that's changed. I had no idea that this was going to happen, or that it could, and that new possibilities have opened up, and that things that I really before valued and thought were solidified in my life and would never change have just crumbled away. I'm being a bit cryptic at the moment, not naming those things, but those things have crumbled away. Well, I'll say one for at least is money. My relationship with money, which had always been wanting to achieve, because I thought that was what we were supposed to do, and how we both didn't come from money. So that thing of, well, I didn't come from money, it'd be nice to then achieve that, and that's quite a nice goal, to change my life more positively, blah blah blah, by achieving, and
I'm successful.
Then I'm successful, but it's a load of codswallop, because it doesn't make you feel anything more. And I've said this to you many times because it was such a profound moment was one service with Bishop Rose when she mentioned that she was going to donate some money, that she didn't have a lot of money, she isn't wealthy in that sense, but would give this substantial amount of money as a contribution towards something, and that it wasn't her money anyway, and that she was just looking after it in the moment and is happy to pass it on for that reason. And it was quite a light bulb moment for me, and a relief as well, that to realise that it's not mine.
Yes, yes.
And that idea, to lose that.
You're a steward of it.
Yeah, brilliant. And to lose that it's mine, my precious. That sickly, horrible attachment to money was, I've been so happy ever since that. And that wasn't even that long ago. But it's a long rabbit hole, isn't it? There's many rabbit holes, but we haven't said who we are either.
I was thinking that, yes.
So
I'm Holly Leon Hawke, and we are brother and sister. So I'm, fortunately, I'm going to be 50 this year, so 4 years older than you. So this is Charles, Charles Bridgestop Ferris, my brother.
So yeah, that's who we are.
Yeah, and we live in Kent, Tenterden in Kent. That's where we kind of were brought up, wasn't it, as well? And but yeah, I just wanted to touch on actually what you were just saying there, because I remember when because we've always lived in scarcity, and it's the threat of homelessness has weighed heavy over us our entire lives. And I'm sure in times to come, if we continue with this, you know, our story might sort of emerge, but it wasn't an easy one. And so that fear of homelessness, the fear of not having enough, you know, and it was just fear. And certainly for me, I would say coming home to Christ, because we were connected when we were younger, through school, which was amazing. And but when I left my marriage, and I literally had nothing, and I was starting out again, and I remember, and at this point I hadn't read the Bible since I was at primary school, St Michael's, and I remember watching, there was a crow or something, and it had a twig in its mouth, and it was flying along, and so it was such a challenging time for me, and it went through my head about watching this bird, that it didn't matter if it dropped it wouldn't get stressed out, it wouldn't worry. Well, as far as I'm aware, maybe it did, but this is my projection. It would just go and get another stick and carry on building, and eventually that nest would be made. But also it came through, actually it was a piece of scripture, and I can't remember it word for word, but it was, and I didn't even know I knew it. It was a weird thing of, you know, do not worry, because, you know, the birds have, you know, they wake up every day and they don't know if they're going to be fed, but, you know, I am your God and I look after them. So I'm going to look after you, and you do not need to worry about it. And I remember there were a couple of occasions within those first few years where I could have changed direction in what I'm doing, and the voice that I
through fear.
Yeah, through fear, absolutely. The voice of God came through very loud and clear, saying, "Hold fast." It was just those two words. It's okay, and trust, and just keep trusting. And even now I have to keep reminding myself, you know, when has God ever let me down? He hasn't, especially since allowing him fully into my life, really acknowledging him and giving thanks for him. And yes, that whole idea of it's moving, having Christ in one's life is moving from a space of the responsibility's all on me. I've got to do this, that, and the other, and I've got to try and be of this world, and as you said, achieve and whatever. But and that's in fear. That's a space for me. That's a fear space. Whereas being in Christ, it's how can I serve? How can I love? How can I love more? My challenge, and I think I'm right in saying this, it's our challenge, is not only how can we love and serve more others, but how can we love and serve ourselves more from that pure place of Christ consciousness, not of um, a um, a place of I deserve this, I deserve that. It's not about that, but it's about acknowledging that you are worthy just as much as everybody else. I am worthy just as much as everybody else to be loved in the same way that Christ loves everybody. Does that make sense?
Of course.
Yes.
And then how, without that, how do you love others fully?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is where it's interesting, where in my relationship with somebody who isn't a Christian, he was christened when he was a baby, but he doesn't practice it and whatever, but his values, because of what he grew up with within his parents, are absolutely that, and they're grounded in that everybody is worthy of love, and family is very, very important, because this is something, and quite contentious maybe, but is that we were taught to be on our best behaviour for others and be kind to others, always be kind to others, but behind closed doors in the home there wasn't a huge amount of space for us to be seen and heard and have our feelings acknowledged. So it's building that within the home first, so that you can really truly take it out, which is what you're doing with your children. Hopefully I'm doing it with mine, to be seen, heard and validated by those around with love and an earnest interest to understand, instead of just projecting.
I think that's quite common, especially from families just after the war, which were our grandparents, of what will the neighbours think and keeping up appearances, but the misery within the household was profound. And then generationally, that was that our parents tried to do that, but I'm not sure why, and I'm not sure they knew why or how, and there was still dysfunction within the house. And that dysfunction is, we'll speak for both of us, is because it comes up a lot in our conversations, is a huge reason for our relief to be a part of this journey with Christ, is to be connected to the most perfect love.
Yes.
Of and to, like you were saying, to know that through Christ we deserve that, we are loved, there is hope, and we can be that as well, having not received that to that extent in the family home, and especially outside of faith, that I think you were talking about school, that we did receive some connection to Christ at a very young age by accident, purely because every junior school in the 80s was a C of E, I think. But as soon as you go to secondary school, they're not.
Yes.
So you stop going to church as soon as you go to secondary school. There's no priest or vicar that come. The town vicar doesn't go to secondary schools, or didn't when we were there. Our parents weren't Christians. They weren't religious. They were atheist.
Yeah.
And that we were not encouraged to explore any of this, and also the opportunity for these conversations to happen didn't exist, and that there was a lot of shame and discouragement. The classic line is, if you would go, oh God, and then someone in the family would go, he won't help you, was said over and over and over again. God won't help you.
Yes.
Was drummed into us.
Yes.
He won't help you.
And also, so our father was an addict of many things, and I remember our mother saying more than once actually, well, as long as he doesn't find God. So
because that would be
worse
than living in the hell of his addiction.
Yes. Which is
amazing.
Incredible.
And so I've completely lost my thread of where I was going.
You were talking about primary schools, and what's kept coming through for me is it was our saving grace. I remember feeling so connected to God when I was young, and I'd spent a lot of time in nature, and seeing the God rays coming down from the clouds, and I was talking to somebody the other day about because they're not practicing Christians, but they suddenly became really animated about Harvest Festival and all the cans of food at the altar, and just the incredible love, the ritual, the ceremony.
Love, ritual, ceremony, community, and that for me was one that we were really discouraged from entering into. Is community, because there was the dysfunction kept us away from community.
Yes.
I just wanted to say about when you said about the rays. When I went to Africa, I remember, because we're really good as humans at detaching from the divine and simmering stuff down into a really uninteresting or unmagical thing. That when we were in Africa, there were some rays coming down, and the guy teaching us, because I was on a course to learn how to be a ranger, said, what are these called? One of the girls said, they're angel rays. And he went, no, they're not angel rays, they're corpuscular rays. And it was just like, whoosh, no magic, it's just the sun shining through the cloud, and it's called this in science. And to go back to the books we read on WhatsApp, one of them that I got from Lindsay and Jeanette, the one I got was Why We Believe, I think it's called.
That's right.
Can't remember who it is. And we're not massively far into it because we're reading a million books at once, but he is a scientist, and it's about his journey into faith through science, or hitting a dead end perhaps with science, what science couldn't do for the soul.
Yes.
and so you have
yes.
to find it somewhere else,
Yeah.
which is absolutely a theme with scientists, isn't it? I think we'll wrap it up.
Because,
in a
can I
sec.
just add
Yeah.
there, is that scientists still can't explain consciousness. And that's the key. You cannot explain consciousness. So yes, let's wrap it up there, because I think it's been really interesting, and I've actually really enjoyed it. I wasn't looking forward to it. Charles just kind of threw this on me, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm ready to do it. But the thing is, we're never going to be ready. The format might shift and change, because we're just going with it. But if we wait until we've got it all set out, we're never going to get it done, are we? Yes, it's it's such a vast subject, and we love toys. It's my joy of living. I absolutely love it. And just before we finish, we've both talked about it, haven't we? In terms of, to become. I've considered becoming going down the route of ordination and things, and but who knows? Who knows where the future's going to take us? But would you like to say a prayer to finish with? Oh, we were going to do just the Lord's Prayer, weren't we? Which is rather a beautiful one, because everybody knows it. And we will touch on as well the fact that you were saying the other day, praying for other people. You don't feel confident in saying it out loud, and this, that, and the other. Because what we want to achieve with this podcast, if we do continue with it, is that we know nothing really, but we're willing to share our journey to hopefully encourage others into exploring their own journey with faith.
Yeah, exploring faith for hope.
Hope, yes, for hope, for love, for just, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because we're all doing the very best we can, but there's so much more help from Christ available if we ask and if we lean into it. So yes, would you like to lead on the Lord's Prayer?
Let's say it together.
Okay.
Our
Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Cool.
Cool.
Peace be with you.
And also with you.